think I was 5 years old when I could see it was all a herd. Everybody thought alike, and then they would switch course, and then everybody would think differently, but all alike. It was a herd, and it was cyclical. It wasn't independent thought. I saw that as a very young girl. When I was in high school, I wrote a paper about how it was a herd, and I remember the professor got very angry at me for, putting people down by calling them a herd. But they thought all alike. Then they would change and think all alike there. In World War II, you didn't dare say you loved the Jews. You might have been killed. And then it switched. Then everybody hated Hitler. And if you said you loved Hitler, you would have been killed. Well, nowadays, if you say you love Trump, better watch out. Yeah. I am really leery of my neighbors. They're all hate Trump. Why? Because they listen to fake news. Putting him down for everything. Everything is Trump's fault. The shutdown of the government was Trump's fault, even though it was the Democrats. It's a herd. You have to be very careful. But I lost respect for people because they were part of a herd. My neighbor lady hates Trump. I said, well, what news do you listen to? I know it isn't Newsmax. She's listening to fake news. Mainstream news. CNN, ABC, CBC, all of those. And she has I don't listen to the news. Well, I said, well, how can you have an opinion then? Well, because her family thinks a certain way. It's a herd. And then the family will switch. Don't be part of a herd. Be an individual, transcend the herd, and be part of the spiritual skies. All through history, independent thinkers were alike. They didn't think alike, but they were above their herd. And there's always a herd. It's a bell-shaped curve. At one end, you have mental retarded, then a big, most of the people, and at the other end, genius, very few. It's a bell-shaped curve, and that's the herd. Better be careful of the herd, because they could kill you. And all through history, it's been proven that even the Supreme Court goes along with how the people think at that time. If things are trend or fashionable, and when that changes, the Supreme Court sees the Constitution another way. That's how it works. It's the herd. I think at age 15, I became so disgusted with the herd that everybody thought alike, and I was always different. It gave me a terrible complex. I didn't see things then as I see them now. So I started drinking beer at age 15. And my aunt came to me and said, in your ancestry, people were either great orators or they died in the gutter of drink. And there was no in between. I started thinking about that. Yeah, that was true. My few relatives that drank were really bad, going nowhere. And there was no lukewarm. You either drank or ended in the gutter, or you did your thing. You fulfilled your destiny. And if that was to be a great orator, now you could do it. Free of drink. But I would also add free of food. I have found my way that's perfect for me. I had digestive issues, and that translated to psychological depression, eating once a day a high-fiber meal in about a 3-hour window, and then fasting for the rest of the day. High fiber and then nothing. Give the digestive system a chance to reset and to fix all issues, because 85% of our energy back here goes into digestion, assimilation, and elimination. So why not fix it every day? Reset the computer by fasting. That's what I have found. I'm not about to eat all day, because I want to fulfill my destiny. And as having such a sensitive system, the intermittent fasting, 24 hours, is the only way to do it. Now, mental illness has become medicalized. If you have a problem, don't go to a doctor. Don't go to a psychiatrist. They will drug you. That'll keep you from the spiritual skies. You want high energy. You want the energy you were born with. And some people are born with such exalted energy. And then they're so high, nobody understands them. And then the depression comes from being misunderstood. And then they go to a doctor and get drugged, and they never achieve the spiritual skies again. If you're high as a kite, stay high as a kite. If you're different from the herd, gladly be different from the herd, but don't get medicalized. I visited my neighbor, and she had her 21-year-old granddaughter there, and she goes to the university, and she became pretty virulent at my views on politics. I've learned to never talk politics when you go to somebody else's house. They may throw you out. But I could see that she was part of the college herd. They all think alike. Except those who are for Charlie Kirk. I guess there's two herds there. But, man, they are arrogantly vehement about how they think at any minute. I guess that's youth. I guess that's how I was too. But I thought, man, I'm never going back there again. Because it's a herd, it's bigger than you are, because the others think just like them, they can't think deeply, and they're not about to listen to a thing you say. The issue is when we're part of the energy source, we are jubilant. And I want to be jubilant. I want to be happy, but I can't be happy if I'm up against the herd. I don't want to be part of it. Superior intelligence have always been alone. And that's why. It's bigger than you are. You have that cumulative force of everybody thinking alike because the others think it. It's not deep thought. They didn't come up with that on their own. They're thinking that because the others think it. It's purely social hypnotism. And I ain't going up against it. Life is too short. And I'm not going to do it again. And every time I do, I suffer. You have to be independent, and you have to stay alone. Stay home. So I think, okay, let's start over again. Have your high fiber breakfast. Now you're not going to eat again for 24 hours. Okay, have that on your mind. Clean house, clean the kitchen. Feed the pets, be happy, tell yourself that it's going to work out because you're a fastarian. Concentrate on that and do your work. And just go on to the next day. And realize that they're slipping in their swill. They're eating all day long. They're eating fast food. They think like the others. Even though they're arrogantly virulent about it, it doesn't matter. That's how the herd is. And just go on with about your business. That's how to maintain happiness. Stick to your own ground. Stay in your own lane. Don't get too angry at them. That's a stress thing. You know, anger and stress ages you. Just let it all go. Realize they can't help it. They know not what they're doing or thinking. Just as Jesus said, and let it go. Herd concept goes along with the modern concept of inclusivity. Not excluding anybody. Oh no. Including everybody. No questions asked. You know, accepting everything that comes in over the border. Just include the whole world. And it's ridiculous. Instead, you must have discernment. You must learn how to say no. You must have boundaries and patience that it's all going to work out. Don't invite everything in. Don't accept everything. Be discerning. We don't want to be inclusive. We want to be exclusive. If you want to look at the problems with inclusivity, take a look at Europe. All the great cities, London, Paris, Vienna, Italy, all the great cities in these countries, every square inch is filled with graffiti. ugly graffiti and trash everywhere, and yelling and screaming and chaos in hundreds of different languages, and rapes. In Paris, I think I heard that there's about 100 rapes a day or something of minors. It's just horrible. These great, beautiful cities, and now they are ruined, and I don't see anything going back to normal. It's too late. And they keep letting them all in, everybody in, inclusivity, and these cities are ruined. And you can smell urine in everything. And the great churches have graffiti all over them. Great buildings and graffiti, it's just awful. That's inclusivity. You don't do that. You don't accept everybody into your house as a good hostess. You discern and you exclude. And you decide. And you have patience when you meet somebody new. Patience. Wait to see who they really are. And have patience when you marry. By all means. Date slow. And wait and have patience, because that bad mood will come out in at least 6 months. Everybody's nice at first. Everybody is. Have patience and discern and be exclusive and exclude. It's not being mean. It's being intelligent. As you can see, I get riled up. And so I know the importance of leisure. I've studied genius throughout history. They all knew the importance of leisure. Would-be genius has an incapacity for leisure. They can't do it. They got to be workaholics, try to perform, try to accomplish, try to get approval. No, wait for the insight. Wait for the creative action to come through you from God. And leisure is how you do it. I think I'll take the day off today because I'm too riled up. I got to take the day off and learn to relax. Not force the fit and push for accomplishment and work harder. What are you working for? Nobody cares anyway. No, leisure is how you make it big in this world. The more leisure, the more your work will be inspired. Take leisure and take it very seriously. Medicine is a herd. Academia is a herd. Their viewpoints change every 40 years. So how is there a truth? If their viewpoints change every 40 years. There are authors beginning to write about the bad effects of antidepressants and benzos and antipsychotics, all psych drugs. And they write book reviews against them and just scold the author. Just put them down for every known thing and find their weak points and build those up. Man, there's no fair debate anymore. No, and science is not disinterested at all. Science is bought and paid for. I was on those antidepressants. There was nothing that could be done. I didn't see the light anymore. I was just in a black tunnel. I just had to ride it out. But I'm not on any drugs now. And if I get depressed, I just get into leisure, maybe take the day off, read my Bible, go out in nature, get some sun. You need at least 5 minutes of vitamin D a day. Get a spot of sun. And then the insights come right back. The revelations come right back. The depression lifts. I know how to handle it now. I don't fall into my bag. I don't sink in my swill. I don't take things to deal with depression. I don't eat, drink, snort, smoke, any of that stuff. Because I know it will pass. It's only temporary, and maybe the phone will ring and great news. If it's a very dreary day, I know that maybe tomorrow will be the best ever. Because I know the cycles of nature. I know how to handle depression. But if you're depressed because you're taking meds, you're just going to have to ride it out. First time I got hurt by people because I didn't read them correctly. I wrote this in my diary. People already show you who they are the minute you meet them. It's nonverbal. Everyone you meet is wearing a mask. See, this is how I felt in these days. To adapt, to be seen a certain way, fear of not messing up. Notice their tension. Suddenly avoiding eye, stiffening, deflecting, edge of mask. The traits they mock or attack. They attack arrogance or laziness because these things they're terrified in themselves. Avoidance reveals everything. Suddenly changing the subject. Performance always hides something. You see, this is how I felt in those days. I was trying to figure it out. Why the heck people switched up on me? When I'd meet them at one type, and then when I saw them, they were a totally different person. Well, I studied neurophysiology. There are two separate nervous systems, ergotropic and trophotropic. Two separate people inside, a lamb and a lion. And the lion comes out under stress or tension, or because they are playing a game with you, they have a mask of a lamb. And they are wolves in sheep's clothing, the Bible says. Two separate people inside. And as I matured, I began to discern more. I didn't take a charmer, for example, on face value. Character became more important to me than charm. And it takes time to reveal character. It's in their actions, not in their charming ways. In fact, I became very leery of charmers. Yes, that's why you gotta watch for action, not their charming behavior. That came with maturity. So these things I was looking at even after I got my Ph.D. I still hadn't really learned about people. That took a Ph.D. in the streets, and that took from getting my face pushed in the mud, and then coming up with things like that. What is really happening with people? Yeah, and I'm sure you're doing that now too. Anxious, depressed, burned out women are most of the mental health patients. Anxiety ridden, depressed, and burned out, maybe for good. Started out a cute chick, started out a pretty young wife, and now she's in her 40s and burnt out. Just glazed over eyes, doesn't see anything, nothingness. And then mix that with the current modern femininity, which feels entitled, which doesn't really give much to a marriage, just expects everything to be given to her, and which is vastly different from the traditional woman who gave and gave to the marriage. It was equal, but it isn't that way anymore. And men are all mixed up. Mix that up with the effects of antidepressants, and you've got a sorry situation, and it's not going to get any better. The students in med school are often unaware that they are being educated by paid opinion leaders into the millions of dollars they're given. They are unaware. Imagine that, med school. That's supposed to be, truth, not brainwash. I don't want anybody operating on me who's been brainwashed. I want somebody who's into truth. This is a very serious situation. A husband said to me, "I fear my wife will never be the woman I married," after she was taking antidepressants for about 6 years. Never. She will never be the same person because she was tapering off of them, but still those lingering effects remained, and they would come back after several months in a tantrum or a fearful episode, and she was just not the same person. And I fear to say that may be true. I'll never be the same as I was before I took them because they destroy your brain chemistry. They distort you for good. They destroy the central nervous system. Your reactions to things change. And it's almost in the DNA. You're a different person altogether. They say, antidepressants save lives. But as soon as you speak of the risks, you will be banned. You will be seen as dangerous, as cruel, because you're trying to keep people from their meds, from their getting well. Just try it and see. Tell somebody who's on antidepressants that their meds are dangerous, that they don't save lives, that there's a suicide every 11 minutes. Tell them that and just see what happens and then report back. As far as these drugs that keep us from the universe, we have a right to know who's a paid opinion leader. One doctor was given $3.5 million by Big Pharma by advancing a drug. We have a right to know what's going on, so we aren't pulled in by charmers.